Microsoft made it sound irresistible. Link your phone to your Windows 11 PC and everything becomes easier. See your text messages on your computer, answer calls without picking up your phone, browse your recent photos, mirror your phone screen directly on your desktop, get your notifications without ever switching devices. It is the kind of seamless cross-device integration that looks genuinely useful in a demo, genuinely convenient on a product page, and genuinely appealing the moment you first set it up and watch your messages appear on your monitor in real time. And for a window of time, maybe the first few days, it feels exactly like what was promised. Then something changes. Your phone battery, which used to last all day comfortably, now needs a charge by mid-afternoon. Your phone runs warmer than it used to. Background data usage climbs on your mobile plan in ways you never budgeted for. And on your Windows machine, a set of processes you never consciously launched are running continuously, connected to your Microsoft account, maintaining a persistent real-time data bridge between your most personal device and a corporate cloud infrastructure that most users have never read the terms of service for. The feature is called Phone Link. It used to be called Your Phone. Microsoft has rebranded it. The underlying data architecture has not changed in the ways that matter. And what that architecture is actually doing to your phone, your battery, your privacy, and your data, every single hour it runs, is what this conversation is about. Let's start with what Phone Link actually is at a technical level, because the setup experience makes it feel like a simple cable-free convenience tool. And the reality of what is happening under the hood is substantially more complex and more consequential than that framing suggests. Phone Link is a cross-device integration platform that creates a persistent, real-time data bridge between your Android smartphone and your Windows 11 PC. It works through a companion application, Link to Windows, installed on your Android phone, which maintains a continuous background connection to Microsoft's cloud infrastructure, which in turn maintains a connection to the Phone Link application running on your Windows PC. The data flowing through this bridge includes your SMS and MMS messages, your phone call history and active calls, your most recent photos and screenshots, your phone's notifications from all installed applications, and, if you enable the feature, a real-time screen mirror of your phone's display rendered as a window on your desktop. The key architectural detail to understand is that this bridge is not a direct local connection between your phone and your PC. It is a cloud-mediated connection routed through Microsoft servers. Your messages, your photos, your notifications, your calls, the data flowing through Phone Link does not travel directly from your phone to your PC across your home Wi-Fi network. It travels from your phone to Microsoft's cloud infrastructure and from Microsoft's cloud infrastructure to your PC. Microsoft is in the middle of that data flow, processing and relaying the contents of your personal communications and your phone's activity through their infrastructure as a condition of the feature functioning. This is not a design oversight. It is the architectural choice that allows Phone Link to work across different networks. You can be on cellular data while your PC is on Wi-Fi, and the feature still works because Microsoft's cloud is the intermediary. But it also means that your private SMS messages, the photos on your phone, and the notifications from every app you have installed are transiting Microsoft's servers as a routine function of the feature's operation. Let's sit with that for a moment, because the implications are more significant than the casual user experience of the feature suggests. SMS messages in many parts of the world are still used for some of the most sensitive communications people have. Two-factor authentication codes, bank transaction notifications, medical appointment confirmations, personal messages with family members, and a range of other content that most people would not voluntarily choose to route through a corporate server if they were clearly asked whether they wanted to do that. Phone Link routes all of that through Microsoft's infrastructure by design. Every SMS that arrives on your phone while Phone Link is active is transmitted to Microsoft's cloud, processed, and forwarded to your PC. Whether those messages are stored, analyzed, or retained on Microsoft servers beyond the routing function is governed by Microsoft's privacy policy. And that policy, as with the other Microsoft services we have discussed throughout this series, is a document of considerable length and complexity that most users have never read, and that contains data use provisions that are significantly more expansive than most people would assume from the feature's description. Microsoft's privacy statement, which covers Phone Link and the Link to Windows companion app, states that data collected through these services is used to provide and improve Microsoft's products and services, to personalize the experience, and in certain configurations, to train AI models that power Microsoft's AI-driven features. The specific retention periods and the precise scope of what is stored versus simply relayed are not spelled out with the granularity that would allow users to make fully informed decisions about what they are sharing. The privacy documentation describes the data flow at a high level, but the gap between Microsoft uses your data to provide the service, and here is exactly what is stored, for how long, and who can access it, is a gap that most users fall into without realizing it is there. The notification mirroring component of PhoneLink deserves particular attention in this context because it is arguably the most invasive element of what the feature transmits. When you enable notification mirroring, which mirrors the notifications from all apps on your phone to your Windows desktop, you're not simply sending notification counts or simple alerts. You are transmitting the content of those notifications, the preview text of WhatsApp messages, the sender and subject line of emails from applications other than Outlook, the content of Telegram or Signal notification previews, the text of dating app messages, the details of banking alerts, and the content of literally every other notification that any application on your phone generates. All of this content is routed through Microsoft's cloud infrastructure as part of the notification relay function. For users who have sensitive applications on their phones, secure messaging apps, financial applications, health tracking apps, personal communications platforms, the notification content from those applications is now passing through Microsoft servers every time a notification fires. This is particularly notable in the context of applications that position themselves specifically on the basis of privacy and security. Signal, for example, is an encrypted messaging application whose entire value proposition is that message contents are end-to-end encrypted and not accessible to the service provider. When Signal notifications appear on your phone, the notification preview may contain the first line of the message content. When PhoneLink mirrors that notification to your Windows PC, that notification content, including the message preview, travels through Microsoft's cloud infrastructure. The end-to-end encryption that protects the message in transit between Signal users does not protect the notification preview that is separately transmitted through PhoneLink's relay infrastructure. The most secure messaging application in the world does not protect its content from the notification mirroring feature of your phone's companion app if that companion app is relaying those notifications through a third-party cloud intermediary. Now let's talk about the battery drain, because this is the dimension of PhoneLink's impact that most users notice first and most concretely, even if they do not immediately connect it to PhoneLink as the cause. The Link to Windows companion application on your Android phone is what enables the persistent connection between your phone and Microsoft's cloud. And maintaining that persistent connection requires the application to run continuously in the background, maintaining network activity, processing incoming requests from the PC side, and transmitting notifications, messages, and other data in real time. This is not a passive, low-power operation. It is ongoing processing and network activity that keeps the phones radioactive, keeps the application processor partially engaged, and generates heat, all of which consume battery at a rate that is measurably above what your phone consumes without the app running. How much battery? The specific impact varies by phone model, Android version, the configuration of which PhoneLink features are enabled, and how actively you are using the cross-device features. Users who have measured the battery impact by comparing power consumption with PhoneLink enabled versus disabled consistently report a noticeable difference. Reports of 5 to 15% additional daily battery drain attributed to the Link to Windows background process are common in technical user communities, with some users reporting even higher impact in configurations where screen mirroring or continuous photo sync is enabled alongside notification mirroring. 5 to 15% of battery capacity is the difference between a phone that comfortably lasts through a full workday and one that needs a midday charge. For users who are already near the margin of a day's battery life on aging hardware, PhoneLink can be the specific factor that pushes them over that margin into the frustrating territory of running out of battery before the day is done. The battery drain mechanism operates through several channels simultaneously. The persistent network connection maintained by Link to Windows keeps the phone's cellular or Wi-Fi radioactive at a level above its normal sleep state. Every notification that fires goes through the app's processing pipeline before being relayed. Every photo taken with the phone is uploaded to Microsoft's infrastructure as part of the photo sync feature. And if screen mirroring is enabled, the phone's display processor is working continuously to encode and transmit the screen stream, which is among the highest drain operations a phone can perform. Each of these individually is a modest drain. Running them all simultaneously throughout a working day accumulates into a battery impact that is far from modest. There is also a thermal dimension to the continuous processing. Batteries in lithium-ion chemistry, the type in all modern smartphones, degrade faster when they are repeatedly cycled through higher temperatures. A phone that runs measurably warmer than normal due to ongoing background processing is a phone whose battery long-term capacity is declining slightly faster than it would otherwise. This is a cumulative effect measured in months, not days, but it is real, and it compounds over the lifespan of the device. The phone you are using 2 years from now will have somewhat worse battery life than it would have had if you had not run a continuous background process generating additional heat throughout those 2 years. And PhoneLink is precisely that kind of continuous background process. Let's talk about the data usage dimension, because beyond battery, PhoneLink generates ongoing mobile data consumption that many users do not account for when they evaluate whether to leave the feature running. Every notification relayed, every SMS transmitted, every photo synced, and every call handled through the cloud bridge consumes mobile data, both on the phone's cellular data plan and on the PC's internet connection. For users on unlimited mobile plans, this may be a minor concern, but for users on capped data plans, common in many markets and among many demographics, the background data consumption of Link to Windows adds a continuous passive drain on their monthly data allowance that they never explicitly chose to spend on this feature. The PhotoSync component is the largest contributor to mobile data consumption within PhoneLink's feature set. When PhotoSync is enabled, every photo you take on your phone is automatically uploaded to Microsoft's infrastructure through the Link to Windows app, making it available to view in the PhoneLink app on your PC. On a day when you take many photos, at an event, during travel, with children, the upload data associated with those photos is non-trivial. And unlike a deliberate backup operation that you might schedule for Wi-Fi only and off-peak hours, PhoneLink's photo sync operates continuously on whatever connectivity is available, including cellular data, unless you have specifically configured the app to restrict sync to Wi-Fi only. Now, let's address something that many Android users are not fully aware of: the specific permissions that the Link to Windows app requires in order to function, because the permission scope reveals clearly what level of access to your phone this application maintains. Link to Windows requires access to your contacts, to display and dial calls, and to populate the messaging interface with contact names. It requires access to your SMS messages, to read, display, and send messages from the PC. It requires access to your photos and media, for photo sync and for sending photos through the messaging interface. It requires access to your phone for call handling. It requires notification access to mirror all notifications to the PC, and it requires the ability to run as a persistent background service that is protected from battery optimization, meaning that Android's normal battery management systems that would otherwise reduce the app's background activity are specifically bypassed so that PhoneLink can maintain its continuous connection. That last permission, exemption from battery optimization, is the one that most clearly illustrates the trade-off at the heart of PhoneLink. Android's battery optimization systems are specifically designed to identify applications that are consuming battery in the background and reduce their activity. PhoneLink explicitly requests to be exempt from these protections, because if the battery optimization systems were allowed to restrict Link to Windows background activity, as they would for most applications, the feature would not work reliably. The continuous connection would drop, notifications would be delayed, the phone screen mirror would disconnect. So Microsoft's app asks to be treated as a trusted system service, exempt from the growing constraints that Android uses to protect users' battery life. And when you accept that permission during setup, you are giving up one of Android's primary mechanisms for controlling background battery drain, for this specific application, indefinitely, until you specifically revoke it. Let's now talk about a specific security consideration that applies to PhoneLink beyond the general privacy concerns about data routing: the SMS two-factor authentication attack surface that PhoneLink creates. Two-factor authentication via SMS is widely used as a security mechanism for online accounts. Your bank sends a code to your phone, you enter the code to verify your identity, and your account is protected even if an attacker knows your password. The security model of SMS 2FA depends on the phone being a physically separate device that an attacker would need to physically possess or remotely compromise in order to intercept the authentication code. When PhoneLink is enabled and your SMS messages are being mirrored to your Windows PC in real time, those 2FA codes are appearing not just on your phone, but on your Windows screen simultaneously. If your Windows PC is compromised by malware, by an unauthorized user with physical access, or by a remote access tool, that attacker now has real-time visibility into your 2FA codes as they arrive, completely bypassing the security separation that the two-factor model is designed to create. The second factor, the phone, the physical separate device, is no longer physically separate from the potentially compromised computing environment. It has been logically merged with it through PhoneLink's SMS mirroring. This is not a theoretical attack scenario. It is a clearly documented threat model that security professionals have flagged specifically in the context of phone-to-PC mirroring features. The attack surface is real, and it is one that is created specifically by the PhoneLink architecture rather than existing independently of it. Now let's go through exactly what to do: how to properly disconnect and unlink your phone from Windows 11, how to remove the associated apps and permissions, and what a privacy-preserving alternative setup looks like for users who want some cross-device functionality without the full PhoneLink data bridge. The first step is disconnecting the link in the PhoneLink app on your Windows PC. Open the PhoneLink application, search for it in the Start menu. Within the app, Navigate to Settings using the gear icon, then find the option to remove or unlink your phone. Selecting this option removes the active connection between your PC and your phone from the Windows side of the bridge. This is the starting point, but it is not sufficient on its own. You also need to address the companion app on the phone itself. The second step is removing the link to Windows app from your Android phone, or at minimum, disabling it and revoking its permissions. On most Android devices, Link to Windows comes pre-installed as a system app, a point worth noting, because it means the app was not something you chose to install. It was placed on your device by the manufacturer or carrier, often as a result of Samsung's partnership with Microsoft, which has resulted in Link to Windows being deeply integrated into Samsung's own device setup process. On Samsung devices specifically, uninstalling Link to Windows may not be straightforward because it is classified as a system app, but disabling it through Settings, then Apps, then Link to Windows, then Disable is effective for stopping the app from running. On devices where full uninstallation is possible, that is the more complete solution. The third step is revoking the permissions that Link to Windows was granted, regardless of whether the app can be fully uninstalled. Navigate to Settings on your Android device, then Apps, then Link to Windows, then Permissions, and revoke all granted permissions: contacts, SMS, phone, storage, notifications, and any other permissions listed. Additionally, within the battery settings for the app, re-enable battery optimization if it was exempted. This ensures Android's normal battery management can apply to any residual app processes. And within notification access settings, found in Settings, then Notifications, then Special App Access, then Notification Access, confirm that Link to Windows no longer has notification access permission. The fourth step is checking for and removing the Microsoft account connection from your phone if the phone link setup process prompted you to sign into a Microsoft account through the companion app. On some Android configurations, particularly on Samsung devices using Samsung's integrated Microsoft account features, the phone link setup creates a Microsoft account association at the Samsung account level that persists even after the Link to Windows app is disabled. Navigate to your phone's account settings and verify that any Microsoft account associations added specifically for phone link purposes have been removed rather than simply the app being disabled. The fifth step addresses the Windows side specifically, removing the phone link app from your Windows 11 installation if you do not intend to use it. In Settings, then Apps, then Installed Apps, search for phone link. Unlike many Windows system apps, phone link can typically be uninstalled through this standard interface rather than requiring more complex removal procedures. Uninstalling it removes the Windows side component of the bridge and prevents the app from being relaunched if a future Windows update attempts to reinstall it and the installation completes before you notice. The sixth step is reviewing and adjusting your Windows notification settings to ensure that any notification permissions that were granted to phone link during setup are no longer active. Navigate to Settings, then System, then Notifications, and verify that phone link no longer appears in the list of apps with notification permissions, or if it does, that its permission is disabled. The seventh step is evaluating what cross-device functionality you actually need and whether there are more privacy-preserving alternatives for those specific needs. If your primary reason for using phone link was to see text messages on your PC, and you use a messaging platform that has its own PC application, WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, and many others have standalone desktop applications that provide PC access to messages through their own infrastructure, typically with end-to-end encryption preserving the security of those messages through the PC client. These are preferable alternatives to routing your messages through a third-party cloud relay like PhoneLink's architecture. For photo transfer specifically, a direct local Wi-Fi transfer app, such as Local Send, which is open source, and transfers files directly between devices on the same Wi-Fi network without routing data through any cloud server, provides the functionality without the privacy trade-off. The eighth step is specifically for Samsung users, because Samsung's integration with Microsoft goes significantly deeper than the standard phone link relationship on other Android devices. Samsung has built Microsoft integration, including phone link features, OneDrive backup integration, and Microsoft 365 connections, into the Samsung account and setup flow in ways that create multiple connection points between Samsung devices and Microsoft's ecosystem. Samsung users who want a thorough disconnection should review their Samsung account's connected services to ensure that Microsoft-related connections established during device setup or through the Link to Windows integration are individually identified and removed, rather than assuming that uninstalling the Link to Windows app removes all associated data connections. Let's close with the broader principle that Phone Link illustrates, one that connects this specific feature to the pattern we have been examining throughout this series. Microsoft has been systematically working to expand its presence across every device and every data surface in a user's digital life. Windows 11 is the anchor. Phone Link extends that anchor to your Android phone. OneDrive extends it to your files. Microsoft 365 extends it to your work documents. Edge and Bing extend it to your browsing. Copilot extends it to your conversations. Widgets extend it to your news consumption. And each extension creates new data flows into Microsoft's cloud infrastructure, new behavioral profiles built from new categories of activity, and new surfaces for Microsoft's advertising and services ecosystem to engage with your daily life. PhoneLink is the extension that reaches into the one device most people consider their most private, their phone. The one device that goes everywhere with them. The one device that receives their bank messages, their medical notifications, their personal communications, their 2FA codes, their photos of private moments. Connecting that device to Microsoft's cloud infrastructure through a persistent, cloud-mediated bridge with permissions that bypass Android's battery protection, access to all SMS messages, mirroring of all notifications, and photo upload is the most significant of all of these extensions. Precisely because of the intimacy and sensitivity of what a smartphone contains, you were told it would make your life easier. In some narrow ways it does. But the cost of that convenience, the battery drain, the data consumption, the privacy implications of routing your most personal device's content through a corporate cloud relay, and the security risks created by merging your phone's 2FA codes with your potentially compromised PC environment is a cost that was never clearly disclosed when you clicked the setup button. Now you know it. And now you know exactly how to undo it completely, thoroughly, from both the phone and the PC, and what to use instead for the specific functionality you actually need. Your phone is the most personal device you own. It should answer only to you.